guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the 90th Minute. We've got Lucas, Greg, Liam, and later in the episode, another special guest, Liam's friend, Steven.
Yep, I play football with him. Big
He's
United supporter as
We
well.
had a nice Manchester United debate or discussion. It was very good.
Yeah,
It
a
was,
little bit of
it was
discussion.
very enjoyable. But remember, before we get into the episode, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We're on all streaming platforms that you can probably think of. And don't forget to drop a follow on twitch.tv/itswaz. Had to plug that in. And of course, Lucas created. He has his YouTube channel. And the
What about our
TikToks.
TikTok? Our TikTok's the biggest thing.
It's quite big, yes. Humongous big, as Ilya
We're on-
Pascal would say.
We are on the road to 30K.
Road to 30K. Road to 2K on the YouTube channel, though. We're almost there, actually.
Yes.
Thanks for all the support recently. But let's get into the football discussions. There's been a lot of news recently.
I've got more egg on my face again this week.
So bad news. Football isn't back yet. It's not back.
Nope.
But
Newcastle might be back.
And Liam, I think you need to apologize to Thurman Merman.
I'm not apologizing yet to Thurman Merman because it still technically hasn't happened 100%. It's still Newcastle. It's still Mike Ashley. I still am not sold that Newcastle will be sold to the Saudi royal
not
family.
Not only does he have to apologize to Thurman Merman, but he has to apologize to Newcastle as a whole.
I'm a big fan of Newcastle.
He's just gonna go to England. He's just gonna go to England and apologize.
sorry. No, I mean, I'm a big fan of Newcastle, and I'm a big fan of the Newcastle fans. So I'm actually happy for them that this Mike Ashley nightmare is over, and that they potentially might be
for anyone watching
topside again.
By the way, I just want to say, for anyone watching this on YouTube, I apologize if Liam is looking like a slideshow. It's okay, but this is the best we can do right now. So
sorry, my quality's not great.
That's okay. We'll get there one day, Liam.
Yeah, but no, I mean, to talk about Newcastle, they are potentially being sold to the Saudi royal family for reportedly 300 to 350 million pound. Mike Ashley, the current owner of Newcastle, being in charge now for almost 10 years now. Lucas,
it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while,
and pretty much since he's taken over, it's been not very exciting. It's been poor transfers. It's been big names being let go.
There's been
it's just been unhappy football.
Controversy.
Yeah. I think it's
hopefully we want Newcastle back to where they used to be, so being a good team, a good Premier team.
Mike Ashley has not had a good time with Newcastle. There's been a lot of.
I think Mike Ashley has gotten a good time in Newcastle. I think Newcastle hasn't had a good time with Mike Ashley.
Exactly.
I think it's been a bad marriage.
I mean, Mike Ashley enjoyed it. He made money from the club. That's why he never sold whenever fans wanted him so. He was making money from the Premier League money year after year. But with all this going on in the world and it's affecting his businesses outside of football, he's probably just cashing in now. Because, look, you could get 200, 300 million like that when the economy is going to be down a lot.
Crap.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. This is probably just a drop in the bucket for this Saudi family.
Well,
Newcastle.
We don't know really.
If you believe the reports, at least, or the things that have come out, I've seen if you add up every single Premier League owner, what their wealth is, it is still not even the same amount as the Saudi royal family. So,
but we have to take those reports as a pinch of salt, though, because we don't know if that's fully true.
Yeah.
We don't really know much about this guy other than people's word, which we don't know is true at all.
Does he know that football's a sport?
Like, how much maybe he's part of this wealthy family, but what if he doesn't actually have as much as people think?
Yeah,
you never
a very
know.
fair point.
Yeah,
you'd think it's still a lot because there's a reason why he's
if you're able to buy a Premier League team, that's all. You're pretty wealthy.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
You're doing
okay. I
okay.
find it very interesting that all these Saudi owners and all these Saudi billionaires, they're very keen on buying Premier League teams. Do they ever actually invest in the Saudi football?
I don't know. I don't know much.
What money is there to be,
it's not big enough.
What money is there to be made in Saudi football?
Yeah.
Make it a name. Or
but that's not making them money.
Think about the Premier League TV rights. I mean, you buy Newcastle for $300 million. A couple of years after you've bought the club, you've made your money back already.
Give
right?
it 15 years, the Saudi League would be bigger than the Premier League. You know,
it won't be.
With that kind of investment, you never know.
But
do they also want to wait that long?
Yeah. Let's talk about Newcastle more in terms of
just
what
sorry
might
to cut you off there. A Saudi team just won the Asian Champions League, so they're pretty good league in the Asian area.
Okay, you know what? Actually, that's a fair point. The Saudis are I actually bet on them to kind of do well in the World Cup. My prediction. You can go back to 2018. I thought Russia. No, was it Uruguay and Saudi Arabia to get out of the group, and I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
But let's talk about the potential for Newcastle. If they are taken over, if they are bought, what happens to the players?
Well, we don't know at the moment. We don't know if this guy is going to hire the right people to take in charge of the club, or whether he's going to, splurge the cash all at once, or whether he's going to be careful because, there's Manchester City's presidents, and maybe build the club slowly, but build a good foundation. We don't know what the guy's plan is. We don't know if his plan is to keep the manager, to get a new manager, if his plan is to bin all the players and get a whole new squad, or just add a few pieces.
Yeah, I did see reports of their interest in Arturo Vidal and Massimiliano Allegri. Or do you think that'd be credible at all?
I don't know.
I think it's too early to even talk about that. I think
it
now
is.
It's all speculation.
We are talking hypotheticals because, like I said, this deal has not even been confirmed.
It's not even been confirmed. It's hard to talk about players and managers and
if it does happen,
all the above.
We got to talk. If it does happen, it's nice that there be extra competition in the Premier League. But we don't want to see a Man City Part 2 where this club just goes ahead and buys all the best foreign talent in the world.
Unfortunately, that's where football's going. Like, if you like it or not, if you like having all these rich clubs or not, that's the way the sport is going. And
in a sense, I feel like the coronavirus situation with the economy may put a halt on that for a couple seasons.
I mean,
potentially.
Maybe on a lot of the clubs, but the very rich clubs that aren't affected by this that much. I don't know. Let's say, I don't know what clubs, for example, but like apparently guys like Chelsea.
I don't see PSG financially struggling because of this kind of thing.
No.
Well, maybe a club like Atletico Madrid could.
Well, there are reports that of La Liga's plan of ending. They have a plan. If they have to end the season, they would use the current standings, and Atletico Madrid would be in 6th and kicked out of the Champions League for next season.
Yeah, Lucas, do you know that reporter, Guillem Balag? I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wrote like Ronaldo's book or something like that.
Yeah, he actually did a very good video the other day answering a couple people's questions, and he gave his thoughts on what's happening with the transfer market. And I thought he said some interesting things, like how the value for players is going to go down. Like, transfer values are not going to go over 100 million anymore for a bit. That we can see transfers sums being a bit lower, maybe 40 million, 60 million.
I mean, if you look at it, like the clubs, they're not making money right now. They're losing a lot of money right now, and it's unrealistic in this near future of 100 million transfers happening, which is why it's kind of weird seeing people putting rumors that United or Chelsea would be willing to pay over 100 million for Sancho, or that Barcelona would be willing to pay 110 million for Lautaro Martinez or Neymar.
That's why in the last podcast I was saying, like, I don't think if any that the big transfers are actually going to happen or not.
But it's the most interesting thing I think he said was we're going to be seeing a lot more player swap deals coming up.
See, I don't know how much I believe that.
That's interesting.
Look, those are always difficult.
Look, this is just one man's opinion. His opinion isn't God.
I know, but he's quite. I would say he's a seasoned veteran in this business.
Of course, he is. He's been in this watching football and analyzing football for many years. But
I value his wisdom, to say the least.
Yeah, but what one person says, he could be a very reputable person, but they can always be wrong.
Yeah.
True, but
the issue with swap deals. issue with swap deals. There's so many variables. You have to agree with the player. You have to agree with the wages. You have to agree with, each club has to agree. There's a lot negotiating.
Well, he was saying like it could be a swap deal plus some extra money. Like I think a good example was like maybe Griezmann for Neymar.
What I understand from finance and stuff like that, clubs don't really do swap deals. They do separate transfers, but they like have it at a similar value so it looks good on the books. It's not technically a player for a player. It's a player's value, his amortized value remaining left.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like, I know like David Amayo on the Cultureland podcast talks about that a lot in his videos whenever they talk about transfers. So if you ever want to learn more about that, his Cultureland podcast is pretty good.
To get back onto Newcastle, what do they bring to the Prem as a new big buying power? Let's say.
Well, say they have a big buying power. It definitely is a potential of increased competition in the league, and where that's a good thing still. Like despite we don't know where the money is technically coming from yet, but it's still more competition in the league is better. Like we don't like seeing one-team leagues. We don't like seeing a lot of teams struggle.
This is something that.
Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
I was just gonna say this is something like it's a team that we could see contend against Sheffield United right now or Wolves, right? Like if they get that money, can they contend for that?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know if it was you, Greg, or if it was Was who said it. But I think a few months ago you said, I think the days of the top 6 in the Premier League is done. It's now a top 8, if even a top 10 maybe. Like there's big teams who are challenging for titles and for European places, and the list is growing rather than shrinking like in some leagues.
100%, yeah.
I still don't 100% agree with that just yet, but
why not, Lucas? Why not? What do you not agree with that?
Because I have to see that evidence first.
Okay, so Liverpool City are definitely title contenders.
Yeah.
Do you put Manchester United in there if they get Jadon Sancho?
You're talking about a top 6, a top 10. I'm still thinking there's still a top 6, and this is at the moment an outlier year. Maybe next year is a similar year.
It could all go back to normal.
Proves Greg's point even more. I just have to keep watching seasons as they go by to believe this point.
Personally, I feel this coronavirus situation is going to change so much.
For Newcastle?
In general, it's going to change the football landscape in some sense.
Well,
with how deals are done and just like the clubs going up and down. I don't know. We can see big clubs falling to grace.
Well, I mean, that is fair. Like, let's look at like Bournemouth for an example. Like, they can't possibly have huge deep pockets to survive. I mean, their stadium holds 25,000 people. That's not a huge amount of season tickets.
It's less than that.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, and like they're not selling 1 million jerseys worldwide. And a club of that stature is not going to survive for very long.
A better example is West Ham, because I did read a report saying that they'd be willing to, because they're not really right now able to sign players. They said if the season continues and the transfer window happens, apparently they wouldn't be able to sign players, and they'd have to let a lot of players go.
Well, they're still probably paying off their stadium debt.
They don't have stadium debt. They got the stadium for like £1 or something.
Okay, well,
not a pound, but they got it. It's like tax-free, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll talk about stadium debt. Spurs, they have a £1 billion stadium to pay off. How long can they financially stay afloat if the world is not making that money, right?
I mean, realistically, they're still going to be able to stay afloat if the TV revenue money comes in year after year in the future. They'll be fine in the long term. It's just a very short term where maybe this season and next season, or maybe the season after, they might not be able to put in the very best performances or have the most lucrative signings. But
it's a perfect time to sell Harry Kane.
Not really. Such lower value.
It wouldn't get as much. Yeah.
100 million
for him. Way low.
No one's going to pay 100 million for him.
I don't think.
Well, I was just talking about him thinking that 100 million transfers aren't going to happen.
They will.
Not for a season or two.
Jadon Sancho's going to be 100 million.
Maybe.
But also, I mean, Dortmund are considering re-signing him. They're willing, apparently, according to Bild, which I don't know if their source is reliable in this story, but they're apparently willing to offer him a 10 million euro a year contract.
So also, but there's also the case. What if Dortmund need money from after this?
Dortmund are good.
Exactly, yeah.
Dortmund have been selling players. They're a very well-run club.
I know that, but
they're in a position where they can help other Bundesliga clubs out if they're struggling.
Yeah.
Like, apparently there's big struggles with Schalke right now, and Dortmund would be willing to help them out if they had to.
Okay. Good points.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
What's next, Lucas?
Yeah, what's next?
Well, do you guys have anything else about the Newcastle? Like, any dream signings you want to see play at St. James's Park?
Actually, me and Liam, we discussed this with Steven towards the end of our interview.
Yes.
The one signing I mentioned that we thought, what's the one marquee signing we could see Newcastle making? I said Antoine Griezmann.
What?
Yeah, 100%. I can 100% see that.
We actually all agreed. That'd be.
I can't see that at all right now.
That's a little crazy.
It may be like.
Okay, let me back walls up here for a second.
Yeah.
We're not talking about this season or even next season. Within the next 3 years, let's say. Do you agree Antoine Griezmann has been a Barcelona flop this season?
I'm not going to call a player a flop in just.
I don't think it's a flop, but I feel like Griezmann's reputation has kind of tarnished over in Spain. So if it would be great for him to come to England, not join the typical top 6 side, and kind of get a bit of a refresh in his career at Newcastle.
To be the focal point of a newly big club, to be that star.
But you're not going to... I doubt you're going to see like 80, 90 million pound signings from Newcastle right away, because that's going to get them in trouble with financial fair play, the Premier League
We
version
understand
of
that. We understand that. We're just hypothesizing, you know?
Yes, it's just a guess. It's
Lucas, who could you see the next, let's say, 3 years at Newcastle? Who could be their big signing?
This were to happen. If this were to happen.
I don't know, like... Maybe at best a Fabinho levels caliber player, and that's pushing it.
Why? Can you explain that?
Yeah, because
maybe Timo Werner.
No, like when you look at Manchester City when they first got the rich money.
Yeah.
They obviously bought Robinho in the first season, spent a lot of money on him, and he didn't really turn out to be very good. They spent a lot of money on players that ended up not really being that good. If this guy hires the right people and they're smart about it, they're gonna realize that, okay, we gotta we can't just spend on the top players, mostly because we can't increase our wages from this low to this high so quickly in such a short amount of years.
I agree 100%. They're gonna go. I would rather them go for a bunch of like decent players rather than one big one.
Yeah, well, you know what this is? These are the two accountants talking and the two hypotheticals talking.
Greg's like
100%.
Which is
I mean, there's one player who's very much used to wearing black and white colors, and it's Paulo Dybala, so I can see my Newcastle.
What?
Oh my. Okay, can we just move on? Jeez, let's just move on.
Hey, here's what I'm gonna say. If you're watching this video right now, stay on until the interview. Let us explain our choices a bit more, and it'll get you into where our mindset is.
I'm not saying I think Mbappe is too far of a stretch. So,
no shit.
Mbappe.
The fact that you even mention that is ridiculous.
Hey, do you remember the beginning of 2020? Newcastle were ranked first in the world for chances to get Mbappe.
Yeah,
just move on, please.
Whatever. Okay, well, we had a great.
Lucas.
Waz and Liam had a great interview with our friend Steven, and thanks, Steven, for coming on to our podcast and having a discussion about Manchester United and all things football related. So we'll get into that right now.
Bang. So everyone, this is our part of the interview of the 90th minute. Alongside you got Mr. Steven. I've played football with him for quite a few years now. As you can see, I've got two Manchester United fans. I don't know how I've ended up in this position, but being that football is off, I thought it'd be a good time to dive into the, shall we say, tire fire that is Manchester United. See where they are, where they're going, where they could be.
Yeah.
So, Steven, give us a little bit of a background from you. You are a Manchester United fan, and your dad got you into this club?
Oh, yeah. He's born and raised in Manchester. I think his quote is, "Oh, I was born in the shadow of Old Trafford." So it's a family thing. No bandwagon here. It's all the way.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Waz, you
Yes.
could be considered the bandwagon fan.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But no, you've been around United long enough to have the good and the bad of the club, and you've stuck through them. So I think it's interesting to get both of your opinions. You know, a lifelong and a decently long time United fan, but one that's from North America and one that has a Manchester father. So I think you can have similar but different opinions at the same time about this club and the questions I'm going to ask. So let's get on to Manchester United. Let's get on to the current United squad. Can you guys give me your thoughts on players? How good do you think you guys are? How close do you guys rate yourselves as towards being a title contending team?
I don't know. You go ahead first, Stephen. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Honestly, I'd say they're probably not a title contender, even if they add, say, Jadon Sancho this summer. I think he will turn us from being a team that's top four competitive to a team that's actually pushing the title race and making the top teams like Liverpool have to win every game. But I don't foresee as winning the title just with a signing like Jadon Sancho. I say they're at least 2-3 transfer windows out, and they have to be strong transfer windows for it to be considered a title contender again.
Waz, what do you think about the United squad?
I think he makes a good point. I think we need to make a couple more signings other than just Sancho. I think we need to bring in a quality midfielder in there and maybe another center back. Just add a little bit more depth. Get rid of some dead weight.
I don't know if you saw the 90th minute Instagram post I just did a few hours ago. Supposedly Koulibaly turned down a PSG move to favor either a United move or a Manchester City move. That could be a guy that could, him and Maguire could be a very good center back pairing for you.
That would be very nice. I would admit that, but like Steven says, I don't see us as title contenders probably for another 2 to 3 seasons. I would rather us become like top 4 contenders right now and stay consistently in the top 4. So
yeah, I kind of agree with that to an extent that I don't think you are close to being Liverpool, City, even Chelsea at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think you have good bones in your team. I think you have a decent core group of players. You just have to add on to it, like the Jadon Sancho, like a center back. So yeah, that moves on to what do they need. So in terms of players, we've mentioned Jadon Sancho. We've mentioned a possible Koulibaly. Are there any other players on your United radar?
For me, a big one is, and he's been rumored a lot, especially over in Europe. There's a lot more coverage on it, but Salman from Atletico.
Okay.
Especially if, say, Paul Pogba moves on, which I still think is really 50-50. Totally dependent on, say, like, teams actually have to be able to afford him and want him.
Exactly.
But I think Saul would be a huge addition.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say he's evolved Ander Herrera.
That's a fair point. I know you've mentioned Thomas Partey.
Yeah, I think one of those two Atletico Madrid players would do. I think it'd be great signings for us. I think Partey, especially, I think we kind of need more of a box-to-box number 6 midfielder. Since Matic is getting a bit older, but McTominay has been starting to evolve into a quality player in that position. So I like the fact that our younger players have been developing well and performing at higher levels and more than anticipated.
Well,
I love that.
Yeah.
That moves me on to my next question is the Manchester United Youth Academy. We've seen players coming through the ranks recently, like your Mason Greenwoods. What expectations do you have of the recent graduates and the close to graduates? What are your expectations for them?
I think the close to graduates, you have to not expect them to be first team players. Either you accept like guys like Levitt and to an extent even Alex Twinzebe. They're great, and what they need now isn't to play high pressure minutes; is to play solid Premier League minutes. Say at an Aston Villa or a Wolves or whoever it might be. Play in the competitive games, but without the pressure of being a Manchester United player. Guys like Mason Greenwood, I think him next year, I wish he'd gotten more time this year, because I think if the season had kept going, he would have cemented a place as a solid squad player, if not a first team player.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you've hyped up Greenwood recently.
Yeah.
Do you see him being a consistent squad player come next season?
I feel consistent could happen. It depends on who we sign, really. I mean, he's really been developing well. I think he's pretty clinical for a player at his age. But another young player I think a lot of people haven't been giving enough credit right now is like Brandon Williams, who's really shown his quality. I've liked him. He's been good. It's been good to switch him up with Luke Shaw. I don't know. He's kind of been my surprise player this year too. Brandon Williams.
Luke Shaw forever is just Luke Shaw's just forever not going to have a good time at United.
Maybe.
I think he's never fit in really.
When you look at what Brandon Williams did, is it took Shaw's game to another level.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't coast anymore. And
A little bit of competition, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the competition actually worked. It wasn't like, oh, Luke Shaw just got passed up. He actually started getting his butt in gear. And now you have two. I wouldn't say either of them are world class. Brandon Williams could be. Who knows? He's 20.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
we
you have
can't.
two solid Premier League left backs.
Stephen, do you agree that the Manchester United over the past, let's say, 3-4 seasons has actually lacked that competition, and then that's really hindered your squad?
It's huge. When you look at it, like City and Liverpool, they're not just good because they have a good 11. They're good because they have another 11 behind them. Like Liverpool's midfield, they have another 3 midfielders after the first 3 who could come in any game. So all of a sudden, your first 3 can't just coast and be like and play nonchalant. They have to put a great performance out every week.
Yeah, you have to earn your spot.
It's the same thing with City.
Yeah, exactly. The City team, half the time Bernardo Silva can't get a start. It's ridiculous. Like, but like, because you look at United team. I mean, Paul Pogba, due to injury, he's been missing out. But I mean, when players like Fred, who's actually had a decent year this year, but like Matic, so let's use Matic as the example. When he can get consistent minutes at suppose a top 6 club, it's kind of saying that your midfield is not exactly as strong as it needs to be at the moment.
No, exactly. And I think Matic is a solid squad player. He's that guy that for the FA Cup game where you need to rest your big guns, perfect. He's still solid. You can rely on him to get the result. But playing him against Man City at the Etihad,
it's not good enough. And I mean, hopefully United are starting to turn that corner. Hopefully Ole, if given enough time, he can get those correct players in and get this team back to where they need to be.
I'm trying to I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying to stay positive, Ole, and trying to stay optimistic. I'm not a fan of always sacking managers after maybe a bad season or two. I kind of want to see what his vision entails. But honestly, it's just like it's all about can he keep consistent results, because we can't be losing to Burnleys or Watfords. But then he beats City.
Are both of you on board with keeping Ole for the next season?
I think so. I think he has a plan. A quote I saw is, Ole might not be the guy that wins Man United the next title, but he'll be the reason why they do.
He'll get you there. Yeah, that's a very solid point. I mean, I do see a bit of progression under United, and yes, it's a couple signings, a couple more seasons playing together. I mean, Ole is still learning how to be a manager. I mean, if you're going to give Frank Lampard time, you got to give Ole time. They're in the exact same boat, right?
And not many United managers over the last couple of years have done the double over City, and especially Guardiola.
Yeah.
So
So what? I think he's the 3rd manager ever to beat him 3 times in a season.
Yeah.
2nd ever to do it.
So.
And my next question for both of you would be: does Pogba stay or does Pogba go? Well, as I know you're tired of this conversation.
No, that's okay. No, it's okay. No, it's all right.
See, like, I think honestly it's 50-50. If I were to vote, I would say keep him, but only if it's because you can't get the money. Don't give him away. Yeah. Don't say, oh, well, nobody's going to buy him, so PSG, for instance, offers 60 million and we sell him. That's a horrible decision. He's a 100 million pound player. Sell him for 100 million pounds. If nobody can afford to buy him after all this that's going on happens, if he doesn't want to play, well, then don't play him. But don't just throw away 100 million pounds for no reason.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that you put so much into him financially that you need to get your money back, or at least the majority of it back.
Especially if we're going to go spend 100 million on, say, a Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, you need to be able to reimburse him. Do you think also then David De Gea will come into question of if he goes to get Sancho?
I was really hoping you bring up that topic, because I love the competition between him and Dean Henderson. I don't think they should jump to Henderson just based off of one season.
I agree.
I think. Oh, David De Gea has definitely not been the David De Gea of 3 years ago under Van Gaal when he was unstoppable, but he still is a top 5 keeper in the world. And
yeah, on his day, he's brilliant.
He's made key saves this year, especially in big games. But he's also made some mistakes, of course.
Like I know how like everybody looks at the mistakes, like especially the one against Everton, and say, oh well, that's not David De Gea, that's not a Manchester United goalkeeper. But when you look at the period of time he's made those mistakes, it's when the team's struggling.
Yeah,
it's when the team's been in bad form for 3 months. Then he's in bad form as well.
I would say that he's faced way more shots almost this season than he does the majority of his campaigns for United.
Yeah, I think like he's definitely not the 14 save Premier League record guy at Arsenal.
Yeah.
But I would say Dean Henderson's great. I love the fact he wants to be the Manchester United goalie and make 500 appearances. I think that was the quote he said. But first of all, he's 23? You don't need to
quite
rush
young,
him.
Yeah.
You don't need to rush him.
Another year on loan could be brilliant for him,
Well, especially he's playing right now for Sheffield United and they're tied for 5th in the league. That's the minutes he needs to be getting. And especially right now, we don't even know if there's a market out there for De Gea. If there's not one for Pogba,
I would say the same with Pogba. Is there really a market for them right now? Because he hasn't played in how many months? He's been constantly injured. I think if I'm a club looking to buy Pogba, I need to see what's he worth right now. How is he going to perform when he comes back? Can he? Has his value dipped? Has his value spiked? Kind of thing. So we need to wait and see. And this is kind of a good thing for United because we can see him play alongside Bruno Fernades. So it's one of those. That's
a huge thing.
Yeah, it's one of those wait and see things.
I'm waiting for the Pogba, Fernandes, McTominay midfield. I think that would be peak.
Exactly, like that could create wonders. But like I said, wait and see.
In terms of transfers, I think United had to get rid of their dead weight. I mean, Phil Jones. He needs to go.
That's the thing that I think Ollie's done the best is he's got rid of the dead weight. There's not been any nostalgia. He threw Ashley Young out the door the second Inter offered him £3 million. Like, £3 million in this day and age buys you a crap.
That's Celtic money. That's Celtic money right now, not United money.
Yeah, and like he's done a great job of that, and I think he's going to keep doing it. Like you have the Chris Smalling situation, you have Phil Jones,
Jesse Lingard,
Matic, Lingard.
Lingard, I think he's probably going to be the most interesting one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's the one that's likely to go to another big in terms of like say Arsenal Premier League side. But
I think with Matic,
I'm gonna give Lingard a shout for Crystal Palace once Zaha moves on.
I mean, I don't know. I think with Matic, he actually does still like provide a little bit of value because he's good to have around the young players.
Out of all of we just listed, I think Matic has the most worth to your squad. He can still play a role.
He's had quite a long career too, which is nice.
And to go back to Pogba, what I was going to say was, teams like Real Madrid have been listed for interest in him. I don't see Madrid dropping another $100 million on a player.
No, not right now.
Especially
after Hazard didn't work out exactly. PSG, I think, could be his destination if things work out the way they.
I see him going back to Juventus, if anything. I feel.
Yeah, I think there are 3 teams in the world, 4 if you count Barcelona, but Barcelona's not going to buy him. That can afford it. And I think
it's huge money.
And I think right now the only one that really needs him would, in terms of football, is Juventus. PSG marketing puts him back on the Neymar platform.
Yeah.
But look at how Neymar worked out for PSG. So do they want to commit like that again?
Especially with like
I think PSG might be looking to really make their team 100% solid to keep Mbappe.
True.
Because I think that Mbappe question's hovering. He hasn't signed that new contract yet. He's being linked with likes of Liverpool or Barcelona or Real Madrid or all these big clubs. I think if they can say, okay, Pogba comes in, we solidify our midfield, we keep Neymar, Mbappe stays, we're a top 2, top 3 club in the world. It's possible. Especially if they win the Champions League, if it comes back this year.
Pogba's he's such an interesting player. There's always something about him in the media.
Yeah.
It's just...
I think, honestly, it's with Pogba, it's a 50-50. He might stay because he can say, well, I didn't think we were going to win anything, but this Bruno Fernades guy, all of a sudden, holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a valid point.
I think a huge thing for a guy like Pogba is playing with the best players. It's winning and playing with the best players. Right now, but for Fernandes, you look at United's midfield. Who does he have to boast he's playing with?
I mean, at Juventus,
Matic.
Juventus, Pogba had the likes of Pirlo and Marquisio beside him. And like, come on, think about that. So
yeah, totally. It's World Cup winners. It's Champions League winners. It's fantastic players.
Maybe down the line.
Sorry, Matic and McTominay. That's not you yet.
Down the line, you have Bruno, and then maybe you add Saúl or Partey, and then put them beside Pogba, and that could be a great midfield.
Yeah, it very well could be. My only final question really that I had penned down was, could you both predict your top 6 for next season in the Premier League?
This is assuming, obviously, we're going
Football's
the league
back.
as is.
Yeah. This is the 2021 campaign.
Okay.
All right. Bringing up the table just to make sure I don't forget anything important.
Man, that's tough.
That is.
I was just more interested to see if you guys include United in the top 6.
I'm gonna say we're top 6 because I think the way we're playing.
Yeah,
this year,
that was exciting towards the end of the.
It was exciting football as well as winning football, but it was also solid defensively. That was the thing that was huge to me. Was we didn't sacrifice defense to play good football.
Yes.
I thought Wan-Bissaka was also turning into kind of
oh my God.
Not just his defensive game, but he's also starting to provide more up front, which is nice. He's creating crosses and runs.
As a defensive defender, it makes me so happy to see somebody getting that much praise.
Same.
For just being a defender.
I know.
Making a tackle.
Everybody looks
100%.
at Trent, and everyone's like, "Oh, Trent makes these fantastic crosses." Yes, he's extremely
how many
intelligent.
times did Trent get beaten?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I look at Wan-Bissaka, and that's everything I wanted a fullback almost.
Sterling doesn't have pants anymore. He lives.
Totally. He lives in his pocket.
Wan-Bissaka, how old is he? Like 20, 21?
21, I think.
Yeah, he has years to work on his offensive game.
If you could combine Wan-Bissaka and Trent, it'd just be the greatest ever.
I think so.
I saw like a really good think about the right wing. You have Jadon Sancho, who is undoubtedly a phenomenal attacking presence. Doesn't even need the help on the flank, but he's kind of a worry defensively.
Defensively, 100%.
And then you put Wan-Bissaka, who's kind of a liability offensively, but you could trust him against anybody on the planet.
Plus, I feel like we have
Bissaka covers and Sancho's going forward.
I'll be honest,
it just gives Sancho the freedom to just play.
Wan-Bissaka really hasn't had anyone on that right flank to kind of provide to. I mean, Daniel James.
Dan James is a kick and run.
He is.
It's not a beat the man.
No.
See, Daniel James is an interesting player for me this season because I think he's a guy who does not need to be starting every match.
No, he shouldn't be.
He's a squad player, but because you guys don't have the depth, he's being forced to play week in and week out.
He's the perfect. He costs £15 million.
Yeah.
And for £15 million, you get Dan James. You don't get anything more, and you don't get anything left. You get exactly what Dan James is.
If I'm being honest, I feel like Ole has not made a bad signing so far.
No,
he's had one transfer. I mean, Wan-Bissaka, James. I mean, Maguire. You do look at the price tag, which kind of puts a burden.
Yeah, but look what he's done for this.
Yeah, no, I feel like Maguire has definitely helped solidify that. You just need someone kind of a little bit better beside him, or he can still improve.
Do you think Eric Bailly could be that center back beside him?
I think he could, but I think the problem is I don't think the injuries will stop.
Yeah.
I think it's a Phil Jones where Phil Jones had all the potential in the world against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. His job was to cover Cristiano Ronaldo, and he did it.
Yeah.
But then injuries
shockingly
hit him. But injuries hit him, and he couldn't. He stopped developing. And Eric Bailly's older than Phil Jones was.
I think it was in 2010 where Phil Jones. I was watching some interviews with Ferguson and Bobby Charlton, and they were actually comparing Phil Jones to like Bobby Moore or Sir Bobby Charlton. It was really strange. So that he had a lot of
Well, Ferguson said Phil Jones could be the best player to ever play for Manchester United.
He had. So it's a shame what's
shocking
happened.
How the world has turned out.
Injuries can make or break a player. It's
100%.
If we're going to really quickly jump on who to get as a center back, Upamecano.
Oh, that's
who I would go after. I rate Koulibaly, but I remember watching Mohammed Salah skin him in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I went, that man is great, but he's a bit slow on the turn.
Yeah,
a little too cumbersome.
Upamecano,
he really excites me.
The only problem I have with that is that he's been heavily linked with Arsenal, so I'm kind of scared they might put up.
You should be a bigger boy than Arsenal.
Yeah, of course.
We have more money.
Toss out the 10 million on top of that. You go, there you go.
Well, an idea I saw, I don't remember where I saw it, but they suggested, well, you buy Upamecano, and then you loan them Twenzebe.
Yeah, that's true. Also, it would also create a lot more competition for that center back role because you've seen what's happening.
Then you get Axel his starting minutes in a great top flight German team.
Yeah. Well, they have what's his name right now from Chelsea? The Welsh guy. Ethan Ampadu.
There you go.
Yeah, he's getting good minutes. He's playing Champions League.
So
in a Bundesliga title race.
Look, we're not just leaving you short a top center back. We're sending you solid Premier League level center back that we need.
Yeah, that's a very good option.
For the top six, top six. I feel like Liverpool, they're gonna win their title.
Yeah.
I hate saying it.
Yeah.
I hate saying it more than I hate City saying it, but I think they're gonna win their title. City, I don't see a player City can buy, or that will show up that will change it.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably go City second. Part of me wants to say Spurs, but they're an absolute mess.
I couldn't. Yeah.
I don't
Especially with Harry Kane. Did Harry Kane go to United?
Not for £200 million. He doesn't.
No,
I don't agree either.
I think if somebody's going to spend that money, it's Real Madrid can have him.
Can we just say
I don't see Harry Kane being
also
he's not a Madrid player.
Can we just also mention that Igala was a massive pickup for like a loan?
Honestly, he's been good.
We're going to sign a mystery striker. And everybody's like, please God, just let it be a Gallo.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
It says a lot for someone who's willing just to play for the badge.
Well, he loves being at the club.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of those are what you want from your squad players.
Yeah, 100%.
These guys that play for the badge. You look at like Juan Mata. Whenever he plays, there's no hesitation. He's all in. But you look at like the Di Marias who are not.
No,
that's a very fair point.
Di Maria had a dip in form and got out as soon as he can. So falling out with the manager, but yeah.
But yeah, to round out my top four for it, I'd probably have to say Chelsea third.
Chelsea third.
Jeez. I don't think Leicester have that great of a year that they finish fourth. Next, I'd say I think we could squeeze in fourth.
Yeah.
I think. And then but I feel like Leicester and Wolves would be right on our heels.
I think Steven put it perfect, honestly. Like,
I'm actually tempted to put you guys third.
Third is.
I'm tempted.
Yeah, it depends on who we can assign.
I think it also comes down to Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think it's huge on what Chelsea do as much as it is on if we can do it.
Who do you see Chelsea bringing in? I mean, they already brought in Ziyech from Ajax. That's a great pickup.
Yeah, well, they don't need anybody on the outside.
They need a defender.
Striker.
They need a center back.
Striker and a defender.
Yeah.
But I could see Chelsea eventually popping up in the Koulibaly talk. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Chelsea are kind of like in a similar position that United are in, where they have like a lot of good young players coming through right now, but they haven't been able to sign anyone. Right.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing is what happens once they're actually able to start pitching for players again.
Like, plus, I mean, we all know how Chelsea spend. They're more than willing to buy a title.
They could have another Billy Gilmore off their sleeves. So
hey, Billy G's the best thing ever happened.
They have a good youth academy, so.
But yeah, I don't think Spurs or Arsenal are. They're where we were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
I think Spurs and Arsenal both.
Spurs are definitely in a bit of a turmoil. I don't see Mourinho sticking around for another full season.
Arsenal have a shining light with Arteta there, I feel, but right now Spurs.
Arsenal are going to lose Aubameyang, so.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Lacazette going to Atletico in a deal for Partey. Like, all of a sudden, where are their goals going to come from if they do that?
Yeah, it's.
Aubameyang's been linked to United for some reason, which. I don't want
He
him.
suits United's style of play
Yeah.
more, but I still don't.
For me, he's
I
not
don't
the type
see
of
that
player I
happening.
would want at the club right now.
No.
Yeah.
You need a lot more players who buy in. Like, look how hard Bruno just dove into being a United player.
I watch a lot of interviews with Bruno. I just love where his mindset is with this club, and it's like we need.
Oh,
players
he wants
like
to win.
Yeah.
He's here to win.
Oh, it's
Not,
nice to
I'm
have.
here to help rebuild the team.
No.
I'm here to win.
Yeah,
That's
a fantastic guy.
It's about.
Exactly.
Especially in that middle of midfield, he's a fantastic guy to be on the ball, to drive forward, to single-handedly go and win the game. Right, you put the game on your back and go get a goal, go defend, just do what you need to do to win.
Yeah. Well, like,
Right.
do you see how frustrated he was getting with Dan James the last 2 games?
Yeah.
Every single time Dan James took a shot and Bruno's at the top of the block, he's like, "Are you dumb?"
See, imagine if you like if Jadon Sancho in that position instead of Dan James.
Oh, Jadon Sancho's popping it back and Bruno's putting it in the top corner.
100%.
It's an exciting.
I still say if you guys had Lukaku up front, I could see you guys being just a little bit better.
Maybe,
But hey,
but
it's okay.
Lukaku's doing his thing.
Is that Solskjaer's looking really for a striker who can hold up the ball. Because that's what he wants. That's what Wayne Rooney was. That's what Berbatov was. They're strikers that hold up the ball and let the counterattack come.
Yeah,
that's what we're all about. Is all they need to do. All he needs to do, and Lukaku had, for whatever reason, no touch.
Yeah, for a guy that's that big, he should be the perfect center forward.
At United, his touch just disappeared. When he was at Everton,
even if he received it at the top of the box, his touch was gone.
Yeah, like, I mean, there were moments where I was like, "Come on, Lukaku, you gotta do better here." Like, we rely on you for goals, and I just feel like he didn't prove his worth while he was at United. But it's whatever.
Do you think you guys will be in the market for a center forward, or are you consistent? Are you confident with Rashford?
I really hope they actually put Rashford on the left wing and keep Martial in the middle.
Okay.
Because Martial and Bruno seem to have such a good connection. And it's a very small sample size, but even that goal against City, in the interview, Bruno said "Oh, I had the signal to get the play going," but Martial, that wasn't the play. Him and Bruno just kind of
did it.
They clicked.
Saw it themselves.
I don't think we should be in the market to sign some world class striker, of course.
No,
but I think we just add some competition, like another Igalo if we could. But
if you could sign, let's say, 2 players, Sancho would be top of your list?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a position that United have needed since Antonio Valencia stopped being a winger.
Yes.
Honestly.
And then second would be a center back to go with Maguire? Or would it be a defender?
I personally would go
CDM.
for a CDM Partey, who can play both center mid and CDM.
Or Miguez,
I just think our back four isn't flawless, but they've demonstrated this year
it could work.
Solid.
Especially there's competition there too, which is we mentioned before. That's key right now for United.
But
are there anything else you guys want to touch on? Premier League, future of the season, anything like that?
How about Newcastle?
Holy shit!
I know we will. I know we will talk about Newcastle in depth on the actual podcast. I'm sure before this interview. But yeah, Steven, do you want to give us your thoughts on the Newcastle potential takeover?
I think we have a worse Man City on our hands. I don't think it's all going to happen at once like it's City, but they're coming.
Yeah,
I think the stat I saw is the next richest owner in the Premier League is hundreds of billions less.
It was every single owner in the Premier League combined is still less than the new owner of Newcastle.
It's one of those things
which
where
is absurd.
Yeah, let Steven go.
I don't know. I think you're gonna have. I hope UEFA is on them about financial fair play, because great, another competitive team in the Prem. I like that. However, I don't want another Man City where they buy 4 titles in a row.
Yeah.
I also don't want them just buying only foreign players.
For someone who's not exactly a Premier League, one team supporter kind of thing. I'm glad that the Newcastle fans have some happiness back in their life.
Yeah. They're such good fans.
They're great fans, and they've been through a rough time.
They care. They really care. But another a great historical English team can actually
be challenging, 100%.
It's one of those things where I think Mike Ashley hasn't been wanting to sell a club, but he might have to because he's losing so much money because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So it's one of those positions where they're gonna force his hand. Like, I have to sell. So
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll be fascinating to see what they do.
Yeah.
Give me a prediction, a quick, just off the cuff prediction. Who's the biggest player they sign in, let's say, the next 3 years?
Oh God. Well, looking at, it's going to be somebody marketable.
Yeah.
I could honestly, I don't know if they'll get him, but I could see them making, like, for instance, if Mbappe actually says he wants to leave, I could see them offering an enormous amount of money to get him. That, like,
would it be
PSG
insane?
just can't say no.
Would it be insane to say like a Raheem Sterling or a Kevin De Bruyne if City's ban does get upheld?
Yeah. I want to go with the
De Bruyne. I think could be really unlikely.
Yeah, I don't see it, but
I think you get a guy like Sterling if you demonstrate that there's a team there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he went to City. He didn't feel Liverpool had a team.
Mm-hmm.
He went to City because he felt
it's very
City
fair.
had a team.
He could see titles, right? So,
or like I don't think Messi will leave, but guys of that ilk that you just look at the world and say they're football.
Yeah,
guys like
biggest
that.
Stars, yeah.
I like they'll become the new MLS on their own. That's what I think.
Yeah.
They'll be snatching up the big names.
Yeah, if I'm looking at a marquee name for Newcastle sign, let's say all this happens and they're look for one, maybe Antoine Griezmann. If things don't go to plan at
Barcelona days are almost kind of numbered, yeah.
So it'd be a good way for him to kind of restart his career. I mean, it's something to say, or a good refresh.
It's just shocking to say.
Yeah.
It's just shocking to say Antoine Griezmann going to Newcastle.
Well, like another one, I just thought it was Dybala.
Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Or Bale.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about Bale.
So
there's definitely a few names that
personally,
are simmering.
I just can't see Dybala leaving Italy. I just can't see him in like English culture.
I mean, black and white jerseys.
Yeah, it's true.
The way I look at Dybala is I think he could come into the Prem and do a job like that 16-17 Philip Coutinho.
Hey, he had the
just
option
behind the striker, just pulling the strings kind of thing.
He had the option to come join the Premier League. He said no. So.
Well, no, he said no to you.
Yeah, he had the option.
Yeah, but if to be honest, if I was Dybala, I win things in Italy and play in the Champions League.
Yeah,
under a depressing Louis van Gaal or Jose Mourinho.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Fred.
At the time, it was not very lucrative for sure.
We did not have much to offer him.
No.
But I think this is going to wrap up our interview. It's been great to talk United. I think this is a conversation that we could definitely have in another few months when football does come back and when the leagues start wrapping up. It'd be interesting to see what the transfer window looks like for United and for the rest of the Premier League, of course. But yeah, thanks, Stephen, for coming on.
Thanks.
I'm sure we will see your face again. I know you want to get involved in some FIFA content as well, so maybe we'll get you some pro clubs.
At one point, I was top 1400 in the world at FIFA. No biggie.
Jesus.
Well, get them on the pro clubs. Let's
maybe
do it.
that'd be fun.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for the interview. We'll talk to you next time.
For sure. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, guys.
And we're back. Thank you very much, Stephen. That was a good interview. I really enjoyed that one. Thanks again for coming on. I think we'll see more of Stephen on this podcast as time goes on, I think. Lucas, what's our next things to get into?
Yeah, sure. Let's get into some actual comment from Wayne Rooney.
Okay. Yes, I know you're going to talk about, yes.
So I think this is a paraphrase quote, but I'll just say it. The U.S. sports trade system is well suited to other American leagues, such as the NBA and NFL, but players in MLS do not earn enough for the system to be fair. MLS owners are taking advantage of the league structure, which is affecting American players and Canadians.
I will agree with him on that because football is not designed currently for a trade system. Like you said, swap deals are very complicated in football. I feel like the transfer system works well in football, and I think the MLS, of course, they can do transfers there. They should be more open to that kind of idea and just scrap and abolish the trade system.
Well, let's talk about the trade system. Like Liam, you're very well aware of how American sports works. Can you explain it quickly?
Well, I mean, like NFL, NBA, baseball, hockey, all the big North American sports, a lot of the time it's player swaps. Like Waz said, I mean, you'll trade a player plus some cash, or you'll trade even like draft picks because the North American sports have drafts, right? So it's not uncommon to see a player plus like a second round draft pick for another player. It's very common. Now, in football, that doesn't necessarily exist, right? So it doesn't work out that way.
Thing is, the MLS is different to other leagues. It's a very closed system type of league. There's no promotion or relegation. There's no teams that can enter the league unless they pay a huge sum of cash to the league. And I'm pretty sure that any transfers that happen, part of the fee goes to the MLS. Like, I'm pretty sure with Alphonso Davies' deal from the Whitecaps to Bayern, not all that money went to the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Went to Vancouver.
It went.
I'm not shocked by that. Yeah.
Part of it
no, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's pretty stupid.
It is stupid, but
it's America.
Yeah. That's
how about that? There you go.
It's a little harsh way to say it, but yeah, that's
big corporations got to have their hand.
We aren't American. We don't like America.
It works in the NHL, NBA, and all the big sports leagues. It works. Don't fix what's broken. I mean, let's be honest here. These leagues have something called a salary cap, which allows for it to work. Football doesn't have a salary cap. I think we've talked about salary caps in the past.
Yeah. To explain the salary cap, people don't know. Basically, it makes it fair for every team. Every team has the exact same amount of money to spend a season. So it rules out your PSGs, your Real Madrids, your Man Cities. So that doesn't happen in North American football.
Gulam Balag, however you pronounce his name, I don't know. He was actually asked the question, would we ever see a salary cap in European football? And he said no, because it'd be extremely complicated to implement that.
100%.
It would be so hard.
How can you tell Burnley and Manchester United, hey, you have the exact same amount to spend this summer?
Yeah. Not even that. Agents would be pissed off. Yeah.
It's a completely different type of way of doing it. And
like Waz said, North American sports are set up for salary caps and player swaps, that kind of thing. That's how they run.
Yeah.
European football will never be that way because that's not how it is. And you can't just change that all of a sudden.
Let me put it this way. I remember back in when I first started watching football and got into football, I was playing FIFA career mode. I was very confused on why is there no salary cap? And because I used to play the NHL games a lot before I got into FIFA and football, and I was big in hockey. So it's like, how does trading work? How do I trade a player? Like, what's a transfer? I didn't know any of this. So it's so different, actually, when you think about it.
It's really
way different.
And also another topic related to this, I guess. So recently, Santos Laguna and Atlas owner, they're adamant that MLS offers an example of sustainable growth for Liga MX, and that a North American Superleague would be beneficial for both leagues in the long term. Now, if this was to happen, what do you think?
This was actually one of the questions I had from Instagram, so I'm glad they're bringing it up. It was, what do you think about a potential MLS and the Liga MX, and Liga MX Super League?
Because this statement is really important. Apparently, Liga MX announced that it would be suspending promotion and relegation for the next 5 years, which has caused a fierce debate and split opinions in Mexico.
I don't like that.
It's weird.
That's what's helped Mexican football become somewhat decent. Is promotion relegation in a sense.
Well, I think what made it really good was them being able to compete in the Copa Libertadores and the other tournament.
Yeah.
That's why they were able to stay at such a high level for the longest time.
I mean, I think this would be more beneficial for the MLS because there'd be more competition. But
it opens up a complete new market for fan bases and everything.
I find it
you think about if the two leagues combine. I mean, you look at the potential power that like LA Galaxy would have with Chicharito on there. You'd sell so many kits, to the Mexican fan base, right?
Yeah.
I do kind of find it funny how MLS and MLS doesn't have a relegation system. Mexico was thinking of scrapping it for this split league, but there's Canada, the CPL, which is a very young league, I know, but they're considering
Young.
bringing in a relegation system into the Canadian Premier League. But currently, the Canadian Premier League is in its own giant problem with the coronavirus situation, where the loss of money could be disastrous to the league. I'm talking like, if this situation isn't solved, the Canadian Premier League might have to think about folding.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the XFL here in North America. It already folded. It was in its first or second season.
It was in there
It
like
had
the
to
first
fold
few
because-
months.
It couldn't afford to stay afloat. I mean, the CPL has a lot less money behind it than the XFL does, so it's going to be tough for the Premier
The
League
finances
to
aren't there
survive.
I did ask a
to
friend of
support
mine.
something.
Do you believe the current economic climate will hurt the Canadian Premier League? This is what he said. It already has. The league will be on the verge of folding if this can't return to normal. Player wages are already being reduced by 20% by the league, causing a player union to form on a day's notice. If the league itself doesn't totally burn itself to the ground, a labor strike will.
Yeah.
So that's sad to see.
The Canadian Premier League needs this season to happen this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it will.
And this could be a problem to many other leagues.
Yeah,
around the world.
It's ruining a lot of things, which we've
Yeah.
talked about, and hopefully finances can
It's
get back
one
to
of those
normal.
things
And
where the biggest clubs in the world might have to potentially pitch in to save parts of football, but that's my opinion.
Lucas,
that's
you are the
questionable
reasonable-
whether it happened.
Reasonable one on this podcast. Do you see a potential Super League forming?
In the MLS and Liga MX?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with what the stuff I just read right now about Liga MX getting rid of promotion relegation, and then with how the MLS is as a league, I would not be surprised at all, because
If it did happen,
it would make them so much money, because there's a huge Mexican audience in America, and then both leagues combined together would probably result into great benefits for both.
Lots of money.
If both leagues combined, that could then produce a promotion relegation with smaller Mexican, smaller American teams being in a second division.
It could, but these people are greedy. They want to make the most money as they want. They want to keep their profits. They're probably not going to accept something like that.
Yeah.
I think this would be really bad for lots of the football in the country. But obviously the teams that are involved, they'd make a lot of money. So they don't care about people outside looking in. They only care about themselves.
Unfortunately, I guess, it is a business. Like, it's not all just about fun, right? Like, it's a business. They're there to make money, and they're going to do what's the best way possible.
Sometimes sport comes second when it comes to football, and money.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Money.
Is there any other topics you want to talk on, or do we want to move to questions?
I think one thing maybe. What's the current what do I say? How do I word this? How is it looking for the current state of football to return? Like, what's it looking like right now?
I mean, I know
it's still up in the air.
Any update?
I know, there's several things going on, like the UEFA proposing that they bring back the Champions League in August and have all the matches happen in August. I know the Premier League proposed, I think they wanted to finish the season by June 30th because of the contracts, but that's probably not going to be possible.
I don't think so.
Is it true that German football will not happen this year because the government is putting a halt on all activities and large gatherings?
I mean,
something like that.
You just have to. We don't know right now. Like, I know the German clubs
have been
training, but like in
German clubs have been training, but also like Borussia Mönchengladbach, they thought that the season was coming on the way back, so they actually sold cardboard cutouts of the fans could buy cardboard cutouts to have in the stadium with their face on it, so it could look like a full stadium. So I think what that is showing is they're expecting football just in empty stadiums kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like the difficulty of having a behind closed doors game in this current climate is going to be very difficult, because a lot of people are going to be necessary, and while there is lots of spaces in stadiums for people to social distance outside of the football pitch, it is still something that's going to cause questions and problems. Like the doctors, like, are they going to put doctors in the football stadiums when they may be needed in the hospitals? Are they going to have ambulances outside the stadium when they may be needed elsewhere?
I think that this will
it's the coming back to the, well, in a way, where is football first or is it second to other things? And in this case, I think it should be second because safety and everything is much more pivotal.
And what happens if another player gets contracted again? Like,
yeah,
what's that gonna cause?
I do definitely think
we're not
the seasons. We're not out of it. I think the seasons will finish. I don't know when, but I think it will be behind closed doors, finished end of the year kind of thing.
It's still a wait. We all hope, and it's still just a wait and see. And Waz was talking about how what's the current status, right? And it changes every single day.
Who knows? Yeah. Let's move on to some questions, shall we?
Sure, why not?
Did you actually hear about United's job offer today?
No.
To who?
No.
Oh, it was yesterday actually, but they're looking for a super fan to run the club's social media for a mighty £100,000 a year salary.
Jesus.
Come on, Waz.
But
Waz, get in there, buddy.
But
if only I was that good.
But not just any fan. This super fan has to have a minimum bachelor's degree or equivalent, minimum of 5 years experience running large branded social channels, preferably within the sports industry, a vast knowledge of Western social media platforms, as well as knowledge of market-specific social channels, for example, like those in China, Japan, and Thailand. And there's like 4 other things mentioned on this list. So,
yeah, it's pretty
so from what I've
that
heard
sounds
from
like Waz.
that sounds like Waz. Exactly.
That sounds a lot like Waz. He runs a big
Probably.
social media platform, his own Twitch. Shout out. Waz.
that's it.
Let's do it.
That's
Waz,
it.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Then
All
you can
right.
use your money. You can use your money to pay for the 90th minute and get us to the World Cup.
Okay,
2026.
Let's move on to the
Yeah,
Instagram
questions.
questions. I had one that for the MLS Liga, La Liga. Keep saying La
Which we
Liga.
talked about quickly.
MLS and Liga MX. So, was this one for you? Your opinions on Sunderland Till I Die.
I have not watched it yet. It's on my
I
list.
thought you have. I thought you
No.
had. I
Have you
took that
watched
one just
it?
for you. No,
I'm actually more
I
interested. in
want
this-
to. I do want to.
Right now, I'm actually more interested in this Michael Jordan documentary that just came out.
Yeah.
Apparently on ESPN.
Yeah.
I really want to watch that.
It's coming out on Netflix, the first 2 episodes on Monday.
Ooh,
And
perfect.
on Netflix, it comes out every week with 2 episodes.
Perfect. Hopefully, it's not just for US Netflix though.
No, I
That's
think
my
it's
thing.
Canada Netflix too.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Cool.
Let's
It
not
is.
get our
I'm
heart-
pretty sure it is.
Okay.
And we're talking about Michael Jordan and football.
I got to watch the first 2 episodes. It was very good.
Oh, nice. Okay, so question.
next
from
question-
Callum. Oh,
I'm still going through
okay.
Instagram.
You go ahead. I'm on Instagram as well.
I've got a
Liam
bunch here.
handles.
I've written them down, man.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
All right, let's fly through them
Um,
here.
Thoughts on the Scottish national team? I think it's got some good promise to it. I think
Definitely.
our midfield is strong, so I'm looking forward to see what
Yeah.
our midfield
The way
can
I
look
look
like.
at it for Scotland, you have a lad in like Billy Gilmore who could be your Gareth Bale. Of course, not position wise,
Huh?
but name wise. When was the
Okay,
last
I
time?
kind of get what you're saying. Like
You need
a
a marquee
leader, like a
name
big,
in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look at Poland. We have Lewandowski. I mean, I think Scotland needs that marquee name to kind of maybe carry the team at some point. And you guys have great talent coming through with the likes of Tierney, Robertson, McTominay. I don't know what your strikers. are
Callum
looking like.
McGregor,
Yeah.
John McGinn,
Exactly.
Billy Gilmore, like you said.
So
Yeah, there is
the future's
decent talent
exciting.
there.
I don't know if Andy Robertson is considered in that. He is
Isn't he
like
22?
in his
No,
How old is that?
Andy
Andy Robertson's
Robertson's like in his prime.
22,
he's like
Oh, I thought
26.
26.
Oh, I thought he was like. Well, I thought he was around Trent's age. Never mind.
Yeah, no. Jeez,
Okay.
Liverpool would be so sad.
This one here says, with the Corona situation and financial fair play potentially being relaxed in the next few seasons, do you think Manchester City will get away with their ban?
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Not if the Premier League clubs have something to say about it.
No.
Yeah, like just
I
because
don't think
like
they will.
something's going on.
I don't-
Just because something's going on, like doesn't mean
I
like
don't.
what they
yeah.
did is excusable, right?
I don't see financial fair play being relaxed for the next seasons affecting what's happened the previous seasons, kind of thing.
Yeah, they still cheated.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Newcastle
The
just took
future-
spot.
What is the future of the U.S. men's national team?
We've got some good players coming through. Sargent, McKenny.
I think we have
Reyna,
talked about this, but
Yeah, we have, yeah.
So, I mean, I've heard that there's some issues going on with the U.S. development system.
I mean, that's due to the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, I mean, it's still a bright future. Does it have the brightest future in North America? Mexico would have something to say. Canada as well. I think the U.S. have to be careful because the competition in CONCACAF is getting stronger.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
Can you name a marquee signing for Barcelona that is not in the attack?
Oh, the rumors are always that they're never looking for anything else but attackers.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess
they got to replace Messi somehow.
Let me tell you, I think I'm gonna go with Koulibaly. Potentially.
I mean,
he's a name right now.
I know this would like never happen, but like just recently, like a Kevin De Bruyne there sounds some tasty.
They don't need midfielders though. I don't think.
I know, but
I would disagree with that, Lucas. They have some aging midfielders right now that will be.
They do.
But they also have young guys that are coming up, like De Jong, Artur.
I know, but
But Kevin De Bruyne, Lucas.
Rakitic is probably leaving. So
yeah,
just sounds so good.
Busquets doesn't have a million years left.
No. Then you replace PK. That's soon.
Yeah. Thoughts on the Ukrainian national team?
Ukraine?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give them credit. They were finished top in their group when they had tough teams like Serbia and Portugal in their group. I think they qualified undefeated. I think. And
I think this coronavirus came at the worst possible time for them.
Possibly, but maybe they get another year and some younger players develop a bit more.
Potentially.
They're in great form. It sucks that like you can't just continue it right away.
I'm very.
Who's their head coach?
Shevchenko.
Is it Andrei Shevchenko? Yeah.
He's done fantastic.
Love him.
Incredible.
Love him.
I'm very impressed with how far they've come in the last 4 years. I mean, in
totally.
Euro 2020, Euro 2016, they were terrible. I'll be honest. That team was awful when they were in a group with Germany and Poland, and that was the way you guys played in 2016 was how Poland played in Euro 2008. It was not great. So I'm very happy with how far Ukrainian football's come.
They've won the U20 World Cup last year against South
Korea,
so they do have some bright talent coming through. Whether they realize their potential is yet to be seen.
And if I could say one thing, Slavic football is looking good right now. So up the Slavs.
And the last question from Instagram. What do you think of the future of football with new talent coming through, your Haalands, your Sanchos, your Mbappes even, and the old goats leaving?
Exciting.
Exciting, I agree, because it's a change.
New generation, 100%.
For how long now? It's Ronaldo, Messi.
I think what I'm more excited about is that this next generation is going to involve a lot more North American talent. Yeah, your Pulisic, Reyna, Jonathan David.
I mean, it's still too early to say. You'd hope so, but are they going to be great players? Or are they going to be world-class players? We don't know.
Davies is already better than Mr. Robertson.
I'm sorry, but no.
He just likes to create banter.
I mean, Davies has a great TikTok where he was doing some, those when you look at the camera and some random thing pops up.
Oh yeah.
What are you? Cheetah. Give me some fast animal, some fast speedy. The duck. Ha.
Like in this case, it was an animal. He wanted a cheetah because the cheetah's so fast, and he got a duck.
But yeah, in terms of football, I think it's in a very promising place right now. I'm looking forward to seeing the next generation.
I like that we don't know who it's really gonna be yet. Like, is it just gonna be a couple players? Is it gonna to replace that Ronaldo, Messi, or is it gonna be a full
5,
squad
6, 7,
basically? Yeah, exactly.
My problem is that with them gone, is that gonna affect like football viewership and some viewership in certain leagues? Like, a lot of people are growing up to be being fans of just these two players and just follow them wherever they go. If they
leave, will they all leave? Yeah.
Will they continue watching the sport or as much?
Depends if these younger players that are coming in can prove themselves
Get
and
the
take
attention,
over
yeah.
that spot.
Look,
Yeah.
We do have a
These
couple
these
other-
guys are not going to be as good as Messi and Ronaldo. I hate to say it.
No one ever will.
I understand that, but
Like, it's going to be
Ronaldo and Messi are icons.
Football's going to be in a weird state when they retire. I don't know if it's going to be for the worse or for the better, but it's just going to be in a weird state, in my opinion.
Personally, as a fan of just football, and like I like Messi and Ronaldo and what they do, but I'm not like just a massive fan of them. I'm excited for a change. Is from me.
Well, we do have a couple other Instagram questions if I could get to them, Liam, if that's okay.
Yeah, I haven't checked for a little bit here, so yeah, definitely.
Joe Boland asks, do you think Ronaldo will end his career at Juventus? No.
No.
Either he goes to MLS, Manchester United, or Real Madrid. He'll go back to one of his old clubs, maybe.
No, he won't.
He won't
I
be-
don't
it
know
won't
where
be
he's going to go,
Madrid.
but
No.
It won't be Madrid. I don't think it'll be United either. I could see an MLS move.
Not football related, but how old are you guys? I'm 23.
I turned 23 this past
he
week.
turned 20.
Yeah, we're
And
all
me and
23,
Liam are still
23.
22.
Another month or two, yeah.
Only Nick asks, what are your thoughts on Wolves in the Europa League and Raul Jimenez?
I think we said several
Exciting.
times we praised them a lot.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I think we all
Done well.
really like Wolves, what they've
They've
done.
invested well. Nuno's been a godsend for them.
Yeah,
And Raul Jimenez is arguably the best Mexican player currently.
yeah, I think that's like the third straight week we've said that.
Yeah, definitely. We have a ton of Mexican fans. I gotta be honest.
Mr.
Hey,
Garcia.
shout out Mexico.
I had
Yeah.
one guy comment. I'm not gonna answer the question, but one guy asked, "What do you think about the second tier of Mexico?" I was like,
Sorry,
know,
but
sir.
we don't know. A lot of
here's
those
a good
stuff we don't know.
question.
Maybe if it
Well,
lands
you'll-
on the soccer book, I'll talk about it.
Maybe.
To Mr. Garcia, I'll say, will y'all ever do a live Q&A? Love from the Hearts fan. Up the Hearts.
I mean,
We do a live
we've done
every
a
once in a while
couple.
on TikTok. We usually
Yeah.
do a Q&A there.
I
We are gonna
doing that.
try. Yeah, we're gonna try to do it more often live on TikTok.
Liam, Lucas, Greg, I definitely suggest you guys try to do a TikTok live soon.
we'll talk about after this when we're done recording.
Yes.
We got some fantastic questions on Instagram, which are not too big. Who is one player you would love to interview? Also, keep up the amazing work.
Who would I love to interview?
That's a good one.
Like current players?
Sure. Yeah, let's
Okay.
go with current players.
Having a conversation with Zlatan sounds
Yeah.
really funny
Can I
and
be
great.
honest? I have
I
a
mean-
top three.
Who are they?
Top. I think number one would be Robert Lewandowski, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, Alphonso Davies. Number three, probably like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you had the chance to talk to Ronaldo, even for
You're
half
gonna
a
take
second, you're gonna happily take it. Personally, for me, I would like to talk to someone who's played for Celtic and been around for a while, and what it's like to play in front of those fans and to be in the stadium. So I'll give Scott Brown a shout.
Scotty.
I was thinking similar with Waz with Alphonso Davies and Ronaldo, but other names that popped up, James Milner.
That'd be cool, actually. Yeah.
And another one, he's technically not a player, but I'd love to talk to Jurgen Klopp.
That's good.
I think anyone would want to talk to
I would love
Jurgen.
to do an interview with Andy Robertson as well. 'cause that guy's
There's a
hilarious.
lot of those Liverpool players that would be
I don't
could be interesting to
Lucas,
talk to.
I don't know if you saw the Andy Robertson tweet about like his daily quarantine
Yeah.
schedule. It's so good. Like, call Trent. Make sure Trent is okay. Lunch, like, check him on Trent again. It was like
Phone
it
Virgil.
was so good. Try to recreate the corner taking quickly. It was good.
Alright,
Like,
I see people like trolling him with like the Lorente goal, but like, I mean, it's
He
kind of
doesn't
a
care.
weird thing to troll about because we're still the champs.
All right, should we move on to TikTok
Okay,
questions?
last question, which we might get in TikTok as well, is do you think Joao Felix has he been a flop?
I mean, he's still
Well,
very
he-
young. He still
Er-
has a lot to live up to, but like calling him a flop right now is utterly ridiculous, and you are very short-sighted if
we-
you do.
We all know how
Lucas,
Liam thinks. Okay, no.
160 million.
Yes, it's a lot of money.
Stop exaggerating.
It's a lot of
Liam.
money. It's a lot of money.
How much was it?
We all
Like
know that.
120.
Okay. It's like, yes, he's not a great season. He was injured almost most of the season. He's still very young. He's going to have a great career. I'm pretty positive. So,
A nice, reasonable
Fine.
answer by Greg. Unlike
Fine.
yeah, shut up,
Mr.
Liam.
Top rated. All right, so are we
Okay.
moving on to TikTok?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's one question. Liam, I think you and I could answer this very confidently. What do you think of Turkish fans?
Oh, yeah, someone was asking this quite often. So.
Let me tell you guys, you have probably some of the craziest and awesome fans in all of football. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but when you think of Turkish football, you think of Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, and Flares.
Yep. I mean, I remember. I went through a few years ago. I went this big phase. I was like, I loved Turkish fans. Like, I wanted to go watch a Galatasaray match, and I remember watching. I think it was against. I want to say Real Madrid in the Champions League, where they met the Real Madrid team at the airport and tried to like meet them at like the door with like a wall of flares. I'm like, that's just fantastic. Like,
I think it was a couple years ago. I saw this meme or some picture on like Facebook on Soccer Memes was called, and it was like when Manchester United entered hell, and it was
Yes,
Galatasaray Flares. It was like, I was like, wow, that's intimidating. I would love to go to a match. I think I'd be
Yeah,
scared
it'd be great.
shitless. I'll be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But it would
fun,
be
though.
entertaining.
But,
It'd
like,
be so fun.
Besiktas is also a very good fan.
Yeah.
But
I just think through high school, me and Liam had this phase where we just loved flares. It's like we're gonna graduate high school, we're gonna bring flares.
But like they're very passionate. Even like when they make transfers, like they always go to the airport to welcome their players. It could be the most average player in the world. They're there to welcome them because they're happy they're coming to their team.
It's awesome to see, and it's great.
What's next was?
We've got a couple more interesting questions. This one's kind of interesting, but who are you guys doing career modes with? Since we've had a lot of time to play FIFA, Football Manager. Liam, let's start with you. You've had
Liam start first.
I'm officially the head coach of Spurs now.
And where were you before, Liam?
I was with Forest Green Rovers.
And what happened there?
I took over Forest Green Rovers. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a road to glory. Started out in League 2, build this squad, take them all the way up. I loaned in Billy Gilmore. I loaned in Angel Gomez. I loaned in Mason Greenwood. I brought in some good young talent thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to win League 2, get promotion. No. I was sitting 15th. I got sacked. I got picked up by Morecambe. And thank you, Morecambe. Thank you. We're going to do big things now.
Well, good luck to you and Morecambe, Liam.
Yes.
And Liam, you're talking. You said you're Spurs manager right now.
Yes. The 90th minute is starting a career mode between myself, Waz, and Matt. I am Spurs.
Don't say much
Don't say
more.
all the team. That's it. That's all they need to know.
Yeah.
Well, episode out on Wednesday. Be excited for that.
Okay.
I on my Twitch channel, I'm doing a Celtic career mode. I started in the championship, very interesting. I brought Rangers with me. Rangers finished 6th in the championship after their first season there. I'm in the Premier League with Celtic. We have not started the season yet. We have signed Roulet and Z. Luis. Promising future.
I don't play career mode.
Craig, how's your Fulham career mode doing on
I play Football Manager, and right now in 2023, we just finished 2nd place in the Prem and are in the Europa League finals right now against Manchester City. It's fantastic.
Big money moves. Big money moves for Greg.
It's coming, boys. It's coming.
Lucas. Lucas, you doing anything?
No, I haven't played. I haven't played anything.
Luke's
really.
too busy editing.
Paddy Boy 09. Come on, you boys in green, says, where do you think Celtic would finish in the Premier League? Now, this was a nice discussion I've had on my stream, actually. And some would say they would maybe fight in the relegation. They get like 15th or something. Now, more so, Liam, here's a question. It's like, not your first season in the Premier League, but give it, let's say Celtic were in there for 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Where would you see them?
Oh, oh, he's back.
Liam, are you back?
Hello?
What happened?
Hello? It just all shut off. It just all shut off.
Okay.
I can see Lucas now.
Liam.
Yes. Okay.
So did you hear the question originally?
Where would Celtic finish? In the Premier
So
League?
let's say if
That's
Celtic
where I
were
stopped.
2 seasons in the Premier League, they have the money. Where do you see them finishing?
Well, yeah. Okay. So current Celtic squad right now today in the Premier League is
I'd say in the
bottom.
the
I'm going to say bottom 6. I'm going to say
yeah.
Celtic a few years in with the money, with attracting players.
If they got the money
Premier
that a
League,
Premier team could get, then I could see them going up.
I want to say Celtic could finish around 10th after, let's say, 2 or 3 seasons in. After 5-6 years in with the money, with attracting players, I don't see why they couldn't be a top 6 team. I don't see why not.
I mean,
they have the fans, they have the
attraction,
passion,
honestly,
they have and if they have the money, never know, anything can happen.
It's hard to tell how they'd run in the Premier League versus how they're run right now in the Scottish League. It'd be completely different.
It's a completely different game.
Yeah.
And
I guess, Greg, there is also, I respect you, Liam, for that answer. Greg, question for you basically. What are your thoughts on Fulham? You are a Fulham supporter?
Which I've said many times. I did not like our last season, of course. I don't think many of us did. Hopefully we can go back up. I enjoy our attacking football that we try to play. I love Alexander Mitrovic. Fantastic striker who is too good for us.
Yeah.
Interesting next question. Do you think the Netherlands, the Dutch, could win Euro 2021?
I think they have a shot if their players injured come back and that some of their younger players develop a bit more. They do have some talented players coming through. It's just hard to tell if they'll be ready for Euro 2021, but it's good that they'll hopefully have Memphis Depay back and other players as well.
They don't have a good enough goal scorer.
Which is why I said that they have some young attackers developing. It could be a good time for them to break through next year.
I agree.
Just bring in Ryan Babel back and we're good.
No, they always do this with him.
Lucas, he's a monster.
He looks like a monster, you're right.
The
worst hair ever.
What?
Ryan Babel's the worst hair ever.
I thought you were talking about my hair.
No.
Lucas, you look like Ozil, so you look pretty good.
So, interesting question we have here. Which countries in Europe do you think create the most young talent? Smaller countries, not, your Englands and whatnot.
I mean,
Germany.
Pretty simple. Serbia, Croatia, probably
Belgium.
Okay, that's actually what I was gonna say.
Belgium.
I mean, are they small? I guess
I would actually.
In terms of league, they're smaller, but in terms of nation, I don't know if you could consider it smaller.
Now,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Potentially. Okay, hold on. We actually had a very interesting.
I have a question if you need to from TikTok.
Yeah, go for it, Lucas.
JR Wood 09 asked, what was the first match you guys all watched?
Oh, dear goodness.
On TV or in person or what?
You can say both. I'm gonna say on TV.
I have no idea for TV.
I can't remember.
Watching soccer since I can remember, yeah.
Yeah, it was too long.
I'm pretty sure the first match I remember is Euro 2004 final between Greece and Portugal, but I'm not sure if I watched one of the other matches in the tournament or not. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I definitely watched. Yeah, the earliest one I remember is Portugal versus Greece, Euro 2004.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say honestly.
The
too
first
long
game
ago.
the first game I ever watched live, Europe would have been the Celtic Legends versus Manchester United Legends game. So I guess that could be my answer.
I mean, my probably first ever football match. I watched, when David Beckham and LA Galaxy came to our city for a preseason game.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think the first ever thing I watched on TV that I can remember is probably Poland in either the World Cup or Euros.
2006 World Cup.
Yeah. That's all I can really remember personally.
Yeah, my first live game I watched, I haven't been to many, but when FC Edmonton played these amateur teams in their first time as a club, before they folded for the first time.
So, we've had some interesting questions. This is a very interesting question we have. The quarantine challenge. I don't know if you saw that, Lucas. Build your best starting 11. You can use. Wait. Here are the rules. Players they must have played in your lifetime. No two players from the same country, and players can't have played for the same club.
My cousin sent me this question on Facebook, and he wanted me to bring it up on the podcast. Yeah, it was best ever 11
requirements again. Sorry.
Best ever 11 that's played in your lifetime. The players could not play for the same team or be from the same country. It's very tough.
Yeah.
Do we want to
just tough?
Do we want to just try
Honestly,
11
it is
together?
So tough. I tried to put one together, and basically what I came up with was Petr Cech in goals. That takes away Chelsea, but also takes
Must have played during a lifetime. No two players can be from the same country. Can't have played for the same club, even if they never played together. They can still have been on that club. Okay.
We'd be here forever, to be honest.
It's very tough.
I already have an idea.
Who do you have?
Okay, so in net, I'm going to put Iker Casillas.
So no Ronaldo?
So that takes away Real Madrid and Spain.
Yeah, that's fine. What do you think?
I'm no on that one. I'm
No.
sorry. There's a lot better Spanish and Madrid players.
Okay, fine. Goalie?
That's why I went Petr Cech, because his country doesn't matter.
Petr Cech was actually my first thought. I was just okay.
His country doesn't matter. And Chelsea, in terms of their players, Hazard, but I'll take Petr Cech.
Yeah. Well, but you could say Drogba, but no. Anyways, yeah, okay. I like that.
Going through the defensive line.
This is actually so hard.
It's
so hard.
I was gonna.
I had a right back in Philip Lahm.
I was gonna put Ronaldo and Zidane, but Zidane played for Juventus.
Yeah.
This is
I have
crazy.
a center back. This is gonna take out United very early, but I'm going to Mohammed. Vidic.
I don't hate that.
I like that. I think that's fair.
Can I have a suggestion here?
Yeah.
How about we work on this after the podcast?
I like this now. No,
no.
This is good right now.
Waz,
we still have a lot to go through.
I don't want to waste people's time when we're just trying to think of something.
Let's save this for a TikTok, and we will make one later on this week. That sound all good?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very depressing.
I'm sorry, Waz. I still love you.
Can you talk about Swansea City, please?
I know they have Ryan Brewster and Conor Gallagher there right now, which due to them having a good connection with their coach. I haven't seen much good results recently since they went there, but I do hope they can help the club to eventually fight for promotion and help develop those players and other players they have on their squad.
Greg, you're the championship expert. What do you see with the Swans?
There was a certain time during the season where they were playing very good, and I expected them to be like third place, fighting for promotion, but they dropped off a decent bit towards the end. So
fair enough. What's next, Waz?
What do ye think of Arsenal's future?
What do ye?
Please respond. What do you guys think of Arsenal's future? From John Henningham, 123.
It's very lots of clouds really because we don't. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Like
I'm not too sold on Arsenal right now.
Is Arteta the real deal? Are the top players going to leave? Are their young players going to develop to their expectations?
Arsenal's a very hard topic to talk about because it's so, like you said, wishy-washy.
Up in the air. Is there any other TikTok questions, or should we run to a couple of YouTube?
I'll answer one more.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm just looking right here. Okay. How far do you think Barcelona will go if the UCL comes back from Anthony? I don't think they're gonna go super far. I'll be honest.
Depends on the draw.
Yeah, they were.
All depends on the draw.
Who were they drawed against in the round of 16?
Napoli. They have a 1-1 draw,
Yeah,
but they have the advantage.
I feel like
they're not even through yet.
I feel like it'll be tough.
I think they can get to the semifinals, but I think the finals would be pushing it, and there's a few teams in there that would probably outmatch them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Unless it depends if the manager.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is very true.
Also, it depends if like Messi gets injured. Like anything can happen, right?
So should we move on to the YouTube question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Greg, do you have those, or who has that?
I have them.
Lucas has it.
I hope I didn't miss any, but I had to scroll through a lot.
We appreciate all the comments. If we didn't get to your questions, we apologize. Hopefully, you put it again, and maybe we can get it to next week or anything like that. And we try to reply just with on TikTok as well and everything.
But Vincenzo Trifilo asked.
Mucho bueno.
Huh?
Mucho bueno.
Oh yes. Mate, my question for the podcast is: what is one marquee signing for Barcelona? Not. Oh wait, that's already one we already asked.
Someone's not paying attention.
Well, I didn't expect that.
You cannot even say that ever again because the amount of times you have not paid attention is ridiculous.
I mean, I realized that before I finished the question.
Yes, Waz would have finished.
Lucas.
Okay,
next question.
Aura Hyper.
We love you. I love you, Waz.
He says, "Who would you say is the most underrated player in the Prem?"
Oh, good question. Underrated. I'm gonna go with Ndidi.
Yeah, 100%. 100% Ndidi. N'Golo Kante gets raves for days, and I think Ndidi is as good as N'Golo Kante.
Jack Grealish gets raves for playing for Aston Villa. He's not really underrated.
I think.
I wouldn't say Jack Grealish is underrated or overrated. I think he's very good, but
I think he's overrated by you.
I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Ricardo Pereira, just because there's so many.
The Leicester guys. But let's look at Sheffield. I mean, Lundstrom, very good player.
I mean, I feel like Leicester gets praised as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Ndidi though is solid. He's a solid center mid.
I think he's as good as N'Golo Kante, honestly.
Sheffield. There's a lot of Sheffield United players that could be considered for that. But I'm going to say Ricardo Pereira just because there's so many quality right backs in the Prem that everyone talks about.
Because I did have somebody on my stream, my friend Dropshot, he was saying he thinks Pereira is better than Trent and Wan-Bissaka.
I mean, I think Trent's better attacking than Pereira, and Pereira is slightly better defensively, but not much.
Let's be real here. Both Aaron and Ricardo are better defending than Trent.
I mean... So, I've seen Pereira make mistakes as a defender. I still think he is the second best right back in the Premier League.
It's debatable.
Ahead of Wan-Bissaka.
You guys have this conversation a lot.
Weekly, almost.
It's between Aaron and Trent. I know he does,
I never have to bring it up because I know he's the best.
What, Trent? Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that Wan-Bissaka doesn't have a winger like Mohammed Salah on his flank, right?
So you're crapping on.
Okay. No, none of that.
We literally, Lucas, me and Waz literally had this conversation with Steven.
So I wasn't there, so.
I know, but I'm just literally, this happened an hour ago.
Lucas, next question.
Have you guys discussed about Euro 2021 predictions? If you haven't, I'd love to see a video about that.
I'm sure we did we not?
We've talked about plenty. But to bring it back up.
Well, we were going to do actually a full episode during the summer. But
Yeah.
That's what happened.
If we're doing predictions, it'll be later on.
The full groups haven't even, like, the qualifiers still have to happen.
Exactly.
The playoff matches. But if I'm going for
it'll be much later on. Hopefully,
France
we're still going good and everything.
France or Belgium or England. My top 4 are France, Belgium, England, Netherlands. Sorry, Germany and Spain. Portugal.
Next.
There's a lot of good teams.
I'm pretty sure that's all the questions.
This is
hope I
probably our
didn't miss
shortest
any.
podcast.
Yes. I think that wraps up the podcast, boys.
I mean, someone asked if we can discuss our teams for our FIFA career mode.
We already
did that.
talked about that, Lucas.
Oh, I thought that meant for like the series.
No, I don't think so.
Struggling. Lucas, you're struggling tonight.
Lucas, that was like
You're
the exact same question.
That calzone is hitting you differently.
Speaking of the career mode, though, be excited for Wednesday.
Yeah, it's coming Wednesday.
As my light goes off again.
Greg fades to darkness.
I think that wraps things up. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in to another week in the beautiful game. I mean, there's not really much happening aside from FIFA, and but thank you. Liam, do you want to send us off?
Sure. Yeah, like Greg said, make sure you are prepared for the new 90th minute career mode coming to YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed for that. Like on this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Give us your thoughts. Hit us up on our TikTok or Instagram social medias. Links are in the description. But from myself, Liam, from Lucas, Greg, Waz, Matt, Steven today, everyone else involved in the 90th minute, thank you very much.
I haven't even talked about Matt, and he's getting a mention.
Whatever. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for watching and listening. Like Waz said, this has been yet another day, week in the beautiful game. We will see you next time.